The wall dash. The new hip, too difficult to reproduce for most mechanic that we're seeing less than 10% of pros do in RLCS. Why is it not an essential mechanic for pros? Will it ever be an essential mechanic? Well, the flip reset was once too precise a mechanic to reliably reproduce at the top level. And now we're seeing complex variants of the flip reset, including double flip resets, crazy angles, pancakes, and all the other crazy variants used in pro play, and simple flip resets are now being executed in Champ 2 lobbies where people can barely hit the ball on target consistently. So why learn the wall dash? Well, in this video I'm going to teach you the basics of the wall dash, why you should be learning it, how to practice it, and what situations are best to use it. I believe this is going to be an essential mechanic of the future, and in this video, hopefully you'll understand why. So first up, I want you to understand the wall dash, because a lot of people don't really understand why you would use it, and to be honest, a lot of people don't understand the mechanics of momentum in this game. So when you're driving around the pitch, as you can see below, I've got a speedometer, which is a Bacchus mod plugin, link in the description. When you've got throttle speed and you turn, you lose a bit of speed, right? Same thing applies if you've got boost. If you stay in a straight line, you keep that speed. The moment you start hitting walls or start turning, you lose a little bit of that speed, right? You see how the bar's going down at the bottom from the turning? So in order to maintain that speed whilst turning, you need to, you need to boost while doing it, right? And the thing is, on the walls, you do lose speed on the walls just from gravity, right? Like if you start going down the walls, you'll gain speed, but if you're just driving along the walls in a straight line, you'll lose a little bit of speed, right? So the reason why I say that is because a lot of people now think that wall dashing is about recovery speed, all this kind of crazy stuff that people do. But realistically, it's a very niche situation where you'll be using it. You want to be using it when you need to quickly accelerate on the wall to catch up to a ball when you don't have enough boost normally, or you want to save boost so that when you get to that ball you have enough boost, right? Here's just a few examples of when I used it in a tournament recently, and it was after I just landed doing an aerial and I went onto the wall and I double wall dash so I could get to the challenge. Now that's the kind of example that you would see a wall dash be effective, and we're seeing some of the top pro players using it, sometimes overusing it. But let's understand the mechanics of it. So when I'm on the wall and I want to accelerate, what I can do is wall dash, but you can see it's really not making a massive difference to my speed, right? It's making a tiny little difference to speed. And in fact, sometimes it's making me go slower, right? Especially if I'm going at a good speed like this. If I start wall dashing, if I don't do it very well, it can often make me go slower. But you can see when it's done well, it makes you increase in speed, right? Now the easiest part of the pitch to do it on is in the corner, right? Just because of the way the wall dashing into the wall makes a difference. Now, one of the easiest ways to wall dash, and it's very similar to how you'd gain speed along the ground, right? Like, hey, I'm just recovering. You do a little bit of boost and then you dodge, right? That's the way a lot of us recover on the ground. The same thing is kind of true on the wall, like if you've got a little 10 boost and a wall dash, that gets you up to a better speed, right? A little bit of boost and a wall dash can get you up quite a lot of speed. So they're the kind of situations where you want to be using it, but you can see there how it doesn't really change. Going from throttle speed, it only changes your speed a little bit. So you only want to use it in those short little bursts to catch up to a ball that you might not otherwise be able to get to. There's also a different type of wall dashing that a lot of people think is the same. So there's chain dashing and there's wall dashing. So wall dashing is the execution of a single wall dash, which you can see right now, which is where you're jumping into the wall. And then you got the chain dashing, which I can't actually do. I'll show you a clip of it right now.
The pinch, and it's cleared off, and you see Squishy with the chain dash.
But not in place to make an attack is Furia, so this one will come all the way back down the field. Worked out.
Okay,
they take it down. Okay.
And that's where you jitter click the jump button and are able to continually wall dash. And we see a lot of pro players do it as like a celebration. And we've seen Squishy do it in a competitive situation, but it's very hard to stop that wall dash. Whereas I think the more competitively viable form of wall dashing is the single wall dash on the wall to help you move around the pitch a bit quicker, make that save, make that challenge, beat someone to the ball, and so on. Now the question is, how do you execute this? What I will do now is I'll get a controller on the screen so you can see it. But to be honest, the easiest way to describe it is you literally just jump really quickly and turn into the wall. So now you can see my controller on the screen. Now the way I do it, and I'm not saying this is the perfect way to do it, Like I said, the best way to think of it is just quickly jumping into the wall. Is I will jump off and then turn in as I jump back in. And then because of the fact when you turn into the wall, it's very easy for you to like turn up the wall as you do the wall dash, right? So I quickly touch back the other way to correct myself. Now that's not the most effective way. Realistically, you want to be letting go of the stick as quickly as possible. And so that's the sort of strategy around it. Also, you notice how I tend to do it on the when I'm driving this way round. I'm not very good at doing it the other way, but just because I don't practice it as much. There's also some parts of the wall where it might feel a little uncomfortable. Like you can see if you're going up the curve, it's a little bit weird sometimes because your car's not really like, as you come up the curve, if you jump off here, your car's at the wrong angle to wall dash in. You see, like that. And then equally, if you're going straight up, it can be kind of awkward because your car's not the right angle. There's probably ways in which you can practice and get better at it based off the direction you dodge. But thing I found is as long as you're pretty level on the wall, quickly jump and jump back in. And you'll notice I fail it quite a lot. A lot of the time it just comes from being slow and having boomer reaction speeds. But honestly, the moment you start thinking about it and like really slam the jump button twice really quickly, you'll find it consistently works. So that's how you wall dash. Now, the situations when you need to be using it, like I said before, when you want to quickly accelerate on the wall towards a ball, it will often be when you're low on boost because you've just done an input. Your opponent will know you're on low boost, so therefore they'll assume, they've only got 0 boost here, so I can position differently. That's where you can catch them off guard. And there's 2 examples when I was commentating Dignitas that were fantastic. Jorius did it, and then about a minute later, Scrub Killer did it. I happened to be talking about wall dashes at the time, and just that wall dash was so unpredictable in that situation because the opponent knew they were low on boost.
Who gives up on the initial touch quick enough that he can recover it.
Oh, the wall dash. Great use of the wall dash.
That change of pace just throws you off, even if it's a small amount.
We don't need to call out every wall dash that happens in Rocket League now. You know, it's very common, especially in North America. We've seen a lot of the players out there doing it. But in that situation just there from Jorius, like they knew he was low on boost. They knew he was on about 20, 30 boosts because they'd seen it. Again, here's Scrub. They know he's on low boost and he gets to the ball faster. Scrub Killer, double wall dash into a boom, 0 boost. It doesn't matter. He finds the goal.
Look at the respect he was given the entire way.
Another one is to help with your recovery speed. You know, sometimes you'll have a 50-50 on the wall or you'll land on the wall. You do a quick wall dash to help recover quicker. And then the last situation would be you're working your way along the wall towards a ball. And if you're confident enough with your wall dashes, you can often save a little bit of boost by wall dashing. The easiest way to wall dash is to boost and wall dash at the same time. Because, you know, the forward momentum, as you can see here, it just keeps you close to the wall a lot easier, but you do actually lose speed, so you're going to waste a bit of boost doing that. Because, like I said before, if you change direction, you actually lose speed, right? So you can see there how I've gone from supersonic to not supersonic anymore by wall dashing because my wall dashes were inefficient. So the only situation you would do it would be to quickly accelerate. So like say you're going sort of just above throttle speed and you want to try and get up to a speed quickly. You know, I messed it up there, but that's the kind of situation where you might do it. Here's an example of me doing it. Another factor in the wall dash that a lot of people don't necessarily reference that much is the faking nature of it. A lot of people use the audio of jumping to know that someone's jumped. And so if you do a wall dash, you can often make someone turn and go for the ball when they think you've jumped off the wall to challenge the ball. And actually it's like a fake jump off to return back for the ball, you know? A lot of people will jump around the pitch, do fake jumps into wall dashes to fake people out. And the same thing can be done on the wall in a way with you know, I often do a little like play around the corner where I'm like this, and then you know you can do all sorts of different things with the wall dashes. That wasn't a great example of it, but you can imagine how you can catch people off guard by wave dashing and wall dashing around the ball in the corner. So it can be quite a good way to make yourself more elusive when going for the ball. And then like last ditch effort saves, for example, you know, the ball's going across here and there's someone middle. If you're good at wall dashes, which I'm not, then you could potentially go up onto the backboard here and then like make a save. And even if you fail the wall dash, you've probably gained enough speed that you might be able to get it, that kind of thing. So there's all sorts of different situations where you want to be using it. So then the real question next is, who should be learning this? If I were to be a GC player, there'll be several other mechanics I'd want to be perfecting before I do this. For example, shooting the ball on target well, double tap aerials, flip resets. Being able to execute other fundamentals consistently is definitely a factor to focus on before going into wall dashes. Now, the reason why wall dashes are useful is because they're a new mechanic right now, so a lot of people aren't familiar with how to deal with them. When flip resets first came out, people didn't know how to deal with them in ranked because they were new and they weren't used to being able to deal with them. So in that sense, maybe if you're wanting to go ahead of the curve, it could be a good time to learn it. Otherwise, I would say focus on your other mechanics if you want to be a top player. Now, one cohort of people that 100% should be learning this is pros and high SSLs. And the reason being, this is going to be a mechanic of the future. We right now are in a meta of Rocket League of efficiency. Efficient boost usage, efficient movement, efficient rotations, and efficient attempts on the ball because, you know, the mechanics that people are capable of, if they're efficient, are so hard to read and defend against that you need to have every last bit of boost, every last bit of momentum. Now, wall dashes could accompany a mechanical player if they are done off the ball. And we've seen it happen time and time again. Atomic is a great example. AJ is a great example. Jorias and Scrub, we spoke about them earlier on. These are players who've used wall dashes in competitive situations to gain an advantage and score a goal where they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. So who should be learning this? Every pro should be looking to learn this. And outside of that, anyone who's looking to have a bit of fun with a new mechanic in the game. I'm GC2, GC3 right now. I learned how to wall dash because I thought it was fun and interesting and a new mechanic to try and implement into my game. And since implementing it, every time I get a wall dash off, it feels amazing. In the same way it does when you get a flip reset or when you get a crazy top right corner shot. Now, the last question, how do you practice this? So the best way to practice it, honestly, is just to go around the edge of the arena, practice at different speeds. You know, practice whilst going fast, practice whilst going a bit slower, because they're a lot harder to do when you're going slower. Make sure you do it both ways. As I mentioned before, I'm much better on one wall versus the other wall. In the same way, a lot of people are much better jumping off of one wall versus the other wall. I think another big thing to do is after every goal, you know, what a lot of people will do, you know, they'll explode away from the goal, they'll land on the ceiling, and then they'll stall. I never stall in Rocket League, but I know how to stall because of the fact that I do it as a celebration. Now, what a lot of pros do is after they score a goal, they drive up to the wall and they just wall dash like crazy, you know? That can be a really good way to get used to spamming the jump button as an improvement mechanism. Last thing is just to go into ranked and just try it. Sometimes you have to fail a little bit to get good at something. First time I learned to aerial, I was flying for everything. Of course, it was the wrong decision, but at the time I was trying to learn how to get better at aerialing, so I flew for everything. Same thing with flip resets. You should see me now. I musty everything, and I fail about 90% of the time because I really want to get good at musty flicks in game. Now, if I don't go through that process of failing over and over again in ranked, I'm never going to get good at it. And the same thing applies to wall dashes. So just go in, accept that you're going to mess it up every now and again, and try it out in a game environment. Hopefully you learned something about wall dashes today that you didn't know before. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll hopefully see you again in the next video where we'll hopefully be doing some more vibe checks, getting to know some of the top teams from Rocket League. If you've got any suggestions on videos you'd like to see, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching.